Good evening, community. We're very excited to have you here this evening. My name is Rochelle Robinson. I'm mayor of the city of Douglasville. Welcome. I'm so excited to see all your beautiful faces. This is such an exciting time for our community. This is a Douglas County strategic plan unveiling, and we have so many wonderful things in store for you. We hope that you will take advantage of, if your children are here, that there's some activities outside, face painting, and we have some things to nibble on while we show you the unveiling. But we're just very excited to introduce you to our team. I know some of you have seen the team in the newspaper, but we're going to go ahead and unveil everything. But I just wanted to welcome you all again here this evening to the city of Douglasville in our conference center. We're happy in this community that we understand that there's no I in team, but there certainly is an I in win. And that's our aim, so that we'll all be successful because we rise and fall together. So welcome again, and we're excited now. I'll turn it over to Anna-Ellis Perry, and she'll come and talk to us about all these wonderful things you're going to see this evening. So welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I'm going to do my best to try and stick to script today. As many of you know, those of you who know me, I'm so excited to be here. And I'm going to try and contain myself and move us along so that you guys can get around to all of the pillars and all the learn a little bit more about what we're doing here. So as Madam Mayor mentioned, my name is Anna-Ellis Perry, and I am fortunate enough to serve as co-chair with Sir Gary Miller from Greystone Power on the Douglas Unite group. I would also like to let you know a little bit about our Douglas Unite group and how we came to be. So we formed a little over a year ago with the intention of gathering, collaborating a group of leaders who will envision, engage, and energize. I know you guys, those words have stuck out in the last couple days, as they should. You as citizens of Douglas County and us as leaders of Douglas County to collaborate and sort of win, like Madam Mayor said. So before we get started with our presentations, I'd like to take a minute to recognize those who have helped make tonight possible. Will the Douglas Unite leadership team please stand and be recognized? Raise your hand if you're already standing. Amazing group of individuals, thank you. I'd also like to recognize those members of Douglas Unite Steering Committee. Where are you guys? These are the folks who do all the work. Thank you, guys. Finally, we also have some important community partners who have supported this event. So a special thank you goes to West Georgia Technical College, Douglas County Game Changers, ACRA Painting and Designs, G&E Studios, Cumberland Community Church Douglas Campus, and Ameriprise Financial, Ms. Patty Puckett. It's now my pleasure to introduce our first speaker. Amy Holloway is the energetic leader of Avalanche Consulting Incorporated, one of the nation's leading economic development strategy firms. Avalanche creates targeted economic development strategies, custom research, workforce analysis, and communications platforms for the most dynamic communities in the country. In her 23 years of experience as a strategist, Amy has advised more than 150 communities across the U.S., including work for the Atlanta Regional Commission, Charleston Regional Development Alliance, Charlotte Regional Partnership, and Charlotte Chamber of Commerce, Columbus 2020, Greater Houston Partnership, Greater Oklahoma City Chamber, Jax USA Partnership, Miami-Dade Beacon Council, Provo City, Utah, and Sonoma County, California, just to name a few. You're a little busy, eh? Please join me in welcoming Miss Amy Holloway.
Hi, everyone. This is kind of blowing me away, isn't it? I'm so excited to be here. When we started working on your strategic plan over a year ago, we never would have expected to have such great involvement from the community in developing the strategy. And I'm so excited to be here today to share with you the results of the strategy and to hear more about what's happened in the last year since we completed the strategy. There's been so much good work. You can see around the room. I love it when I walk into a meeting and the client gives me something to wear. Like, I didn't even have to think about what I was going to wear this morning. I get to wear this awesome t-shirt. It is so good to be here. So what I want to do in the next few minutes is give you an overview of the strategy, to just familiarize you with the strategy. And then as you go around the room after the presentations are done, you can learn more about each goal of the strategy at the stations that are placed around the room. And then I'm going to be here to answer any questions that you have. So feel free to come up to me and ask me questions, and I'd love to tell you more about the strategy. So does that sound good? All right. All right, so I also want to thank the partners that invested in the strategic plan that we led for you all. These are the partners up here. They were not only great funders, but they were also involved in every step of the way, advising us, serving on our leadership team, et cetera. So thank you guys so much. Again, please raise your hand if you were involved on the steering committee or involved in funding the original strategy. Thank you guys. Thank you. I'm sure you're as excited as I am to see this great turnout today. A little bit about Avalanche Consulting so you know where we're coming from. We're national economic development strategists. We work all over the country. We're based in Austin, Texas, but that's basically where I spend my weekends. I'm very busy traveling around the country, working with communities, helping communities make their economies and their places even better places for businesses and their residents. And as you heard, we work all over the country, and we like to say that we work with the nation's best performing communities, both large and small. I think our smallest client that we've ever worked with was Estes Park, Colorado. Have you ever been to Estes Park? Population of 6,000 people. And I talked to every one of those 6,000 people in that process. They were very involved. And we also work with mid-sized metros and counties in similar size to Douglas County, all the way up to very large metros like Greater Houston and Miami and Charlotte, et cetera. So these are just a few of our clients. So when we start a strategic planning process, as we work with the community on their strategy, we bring to the community all sorts of best practices and ideas from all over the country, how other communities are making their economies perform well. So what is economic development? Does anyone care to take a stab at that question? That term is used so often today and in so many different ways. I thought it was important to start this presentation by just telling you what we think of when we hear the term economic development. And economic development is about developing a community that's resilient and in a community in which every resident can prosper. And resiliency is really important. For those of you who have lived here since, say, the early 2000s or even before that, you've seen some really high ups here in Douglas County, and you've seen some hard times during the recession, right? And so one of our goals with a strategy like this is to make sure that your economy is stable and diverse enough that it can ride through those recessions and those times when it's harder and when businesses are having a hard time keeping jobs. So that was one of our goals. And also prosperity for everyone. We're not a strong economy if we're leaving people behind, right? So we want to make sure that there are career opportunities and training opportunities for everyone in our community to participate in the workforce, to earn a good income and have a great quality of life for them and their families. So that's what economic development is about. It's a holistic perspective on economic development. It's not just about attracting new jobs into your community. That's one part of it, but it's not the only part of it. And when we do an economic development strategy, we look at a variety of topics. So not just your business community and your economy, but we consider factors like your quality of life. We have to have a great quality of life to be able to attract and retain people, right? We look at things like infrastructure. Can we get people around our community in an efficient way, especially in a community like this, which we're going to talk about in a sec. You guys have a lot of commuters that live here and drive outside of the community on a daily basis for jobs, which probably puts a lot of strain on your infrastructure, I would imagine. Other topics we look at are economic mobility. You know, do people who live here have an opportunity to elevate their standard of living? We look at talent. I'd say that talent and education is the #1 most important topic within economic development today. That's what businesses are looking for, a place where they can access talent. Unemployment rates are super low right now, so can businesses access talent? So you see all of these topics that we look at in a strategy, and they're all interconnected, right? You can't have a talent pipeline if you've got a terrible quality of life, right? You can't have a talent pipeline if people can't get around in your community or participate civically in your community. So we look at so many different factors when we prepare an economic development strategy. And this may be the most important part of success, are these foundations. And I can tell you when I go around the country and I work with communities, these are the things that cause an economic development initiative to fail. Or the ones that are the best in the country are doing these things really well. So they think regionally, right? They don't just think within their city limits or their county limits. They understand how they connect with the whole region and with the state and all those dynamics, and they participate, and they're good players in regional initiatives. There's collaboration and trust among leaders. This is important everywhere, right? But you can't expect to make progress if your leadership isn't working well together and setting aside differences to work together towards shared goals and shared vision. And inclusivity and transparency. That's incredibly important. We advocate for economic development initiatives that are not done behind closed doors, but invite everyone in the community to participate in the planning process and to share their ideas and participate in implementation. So you guys all have a role to play in making sure that this economic development plan is successful. So just a little bit of background on what we did to create your strategy. The strategic planning process involved 2 phases. The first one was a discovery process. We were new to your community. We'd never been here before. We came in with fresh eyes, but we needed to learn a lot. So we conducted an in-depth economic analysis of Douglas County and the surrounding area. We also involved a lot of stakeholders in sharing their ideas about the community. We had an open process. Anyone who wanted to share their ideas with us could share their ideas with us. We led a survey of the community. We also talked to people outside of the community to figure out what their perceptions of Douglasville and Douglas County were. And we concluded the discovery process with a series of reports that summarized our findings. And then the second phase was actually to develop a strategy. So once we understood what your challenges were here in the community and what your opportunities were, we developed a plan of action, which are represented by the pillars and the strategies that you see around the room, of what do we need to do to advance our economy forward and make sure that we're as competitive as we can possibly be. How do we stand out in this very busy, very competitive environment? As I said, we involved as many people as we possibly could in our 7 to 8 month planning process. How many of you participated in the survey that we had online, if you remember? You're like, oh, that was the most memorable survey I've ever participated in. Yes. We had over 1,100 responses to that survey. In a community this size, that is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys for participating. We read every survey. We read through every remark that we got. And we also conducted interviews and surveys of people outside of the community. We led focus groups in which over 150 people participated. We had one-to-one interviews. We also had a steering committee of around 50 people that we led 4 hour-and-a-half to 2 hour long workshops with. So we tried to gather as much input from the community as possible to make sure that this was totally customized to this community. And I want to share with you a few research findings. These are just top-line findings that we found to be really interesting and very inspirational for the strategy. So I'm curious, how many people have lived in Douglas County since 2000? Whoa, okay. That's a good number of you. So you've seen some highs and you've seen some lows here. This community is growing population very rapidly. I don't know if you feel that on your day-to-day basis, but between 2000 and 2010, Douglas County added 30,000 new people. And since 2000, your population has increased by 50%. Does that feel like that's a lot of new people coming into your community and living here? And the people who are moving in here are highly educated. So in the year 2000, 19% of residents here in Douglas County had a bachelor's degree or higher. Do you know what that number is today? 32%. That's absolutely incredible. Your educational attainment levels here are higher than the US average. So you're attracting a very highly educated population. But then what happened in 2007? Before 2007, you were permitting 5 houses a day. It's a lot of growth, a lot of people moving here, a lot of houses being built. And then the recession hit. And between 2007 and 2010, this community lost 1 out of every 8 jobs. And that was very difficult. I think the recession hit Douglas County harder than most other communities in this metro area. You guys probably felt that. Probably have stories to tell about that time period. But today, you've also recovered faster than a lot of other communities. Today, you're at your highest number of jobs in the history of this community. So, way to go. I know a lot of hard work has gone into that. We also see that your wage levels are increasing. So wage levels here are still below average, but they're increasing at a rapid rate. So in the last 5 years, your household income rates have increased by 10%, and we see that trend continuing. And then this is very interesting. This is also something we always have to take into consideration when we do an economic development plan. 10,000, see the middle of the circles? That is the number of people who both live in Douglas County and work in Douglas County. Only 10,000 people. On a daily basis, 43,000 residents leave this county for work. And 27,000 people come into this community to work. So do you feel that on the roads? I bet you do. It's like this every day, just people coming and going and coming and going, and 10,000 people both live and work here. That's inspiration for economic development, because what do we want to have more of here? Jobs, to employ our residents, so people don't have to be on the road, they don't have to be away from their families, they can stay civically engaged. And finally, on the research highlights, we conducted a brand analysis, meaning, what's the essence of Douglas County? What does this place mean? What differentiates it? And so part of the survey that we conducted of this community was to understand that brand identity, and also talking to people on the outside, what's the perception of this community? We discovered some really interesting things. I'd say there's 4 things that came top of mind from all of that research. One is that this is a resilient community. You had a very hard time between 2007 and 2010, but you came back up at a faster pace than most other communities. That says something about the character of this community. 2, this is a community that is loaded with talent, and a diversity of talent, and a diversity of skill sets. You could accommodate almost any type of job here in Douglas County based on your skill sets. But a lot of people are having to leave to find those jobs. We can get more of those jobs here in our community. 3, this is a very supportive community. This community gives more of its income as a percent to charitable causes than the US average and the metro average. So you guys are a very giving community, very involved. And then finally, this is an equitable community. And I think this, if anything, matters the most in economic development today is equity, in making sure that everyone has equal opportunities to participate in the workforce. This community, in Douglas County, 40% of your management positions are held by women. That's remarkable. That is far above the metro, state, and US average. And also, we like to look at incomes by race to see how equitable incomes are being distributed among different races in a community. Here in Douglas County, the average household income of African American families is 95% that of white families. It's still not on par, but the US average is 60%. So we have some work to do, but when we look at that statistic, we say you've got an incredible story to tell in terms of equity and diversity, and that's driving business decisions today. All right, to wrap, I want to share with you the pillars of the strategy, and again, you can go around the room and learn more about these. But we established a vision statement that leads the strategy and drives these pillars. And the vision is that this is a county that's known as a thriving business community, a destination for culture and nature lovers, and a home to compassionate and collaborative people. This is our vision. And within that vision, there are 4 pillars that we want you to focus your attention on over the next 5 years to get our economy to the next level. And the first is to celebrate the community. This is a celebration of the community. We need to tell our story better. We need to invest in community pride. This is a place that has so much to offer, and we need to all be telling that story. Invest with intention. Let's make sure that where we're investing our attention, where we're developing within this county makes sense. It's not scattershot, it's intentional, and creates a community that's long-term very sustainable. 3, cultivate talent. Let's make sure that we're training for the jobs of the future, that we're providing opportunities for everyone in the community to participate in education and training, and make sure that our business community is involved hand in hand with our educators. And then 4, build business success. Let's take care of our existing businesses. Let's reach out to them, figure out what their needs are, and help them address their needs. And let's also invest in entrepreneurial initiatives so that we can start our own businesses here in Douglas County. So this is the framework of the strategy. The strategy itself has a lot of detail in terms of tactics, but this is the framework that I want you to keep in mind. And I want to close by saying, we need you. So every single person in this room has a role to play in economic development. You do? So here's some things you can do. Tell the story of this community and why you're proud of it and why you love living here. Buy local, right? Inject money into this economy. Support your local businesses. Tell the story. Get involved in schools. Get involved in volunteering. All of those things make a difference and make this a place where future generations can live and play, explore, and have a great job. So thank you guys very, very much. I think I'm going to hand it over to the pillar heads who are going to share a little more detail on each pillar.
Thank you, Amy. You did a great job. I'm sure everyone's even more excited and more intrigued. So while a plan is a wonderful thing to have, the key to success is the actual implementation. We will now hear brief updates on each of the areas of the strategy from the pillar leaders. First, I would like to introduce Douglas County Chamber President and CEO, Sarah Ray, who leads the Celebrate the Community pillar. That's the first time anyone's ever said that to me. Okay. I think you're getting help. You'll have to scream. Or I could stand here and do it for you.
Can you hear me in the back? Yes?
I think it was rigged.
I mean, I got a loud voice, so I'm not afraid to yell a little bit. There, hello. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Sarah Ray. I'm the president and CEO of the Douglas County Chamber, and I am the pillar leader for Celebrate the Community. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I was just telling Gil 30 seconds ago, I feel like I have the fun pillar because it's all about celebration and telling our story and being proud of the community that we live in. So we have within my pillar, there are a couple of things that we've been working on since we received this strategy from Avalanche about a year ago. One of the first things that the pillar leaders and the leadership team realized was that before we start communicating the word out to Douglas County, we need to know what that is. We need to know what that looks like, what our message is, and what brand we want to create. So the Chamber Board of Directors decided that we would kind of take a stand and support that initiative. So we decided to contract with DCI, which is a marketing and branding firm out of New York, and go with, I guess it would be a strategic plan within the strategic plan. And that was a branding study. So we started that in January, and we had groups of about, we did focus groups. They came into the community, learned about the community, and there were about 100 people that participated in focus groups, and that was everyone from realtors, large employers, small employers, young professionals, since we have a large population of millennials in the community. We had established residents, which I would consider our 55-plus community, and we also looked at new residents. Why are they moving here? What made them come to Douglas County? So after we held all those focus groups, we went through a brand strategy, which that is where we actually created the messaging and the logo. And just kind of a quick heads up for everyone, the logo is only that everyone is seeing tonight, the outside the lines, that's a tiny piece of what this group created. There is a message behind it, which you can come back to our pillar station and learn more. There's the actual logo, there's taglines, and we have a 3-year strategy that we received from DCI in regards to implementing that community-wide, and that's through the school system, it's through the Development Authority, the city, the county, and other organizations, Cultural Arts Council. So it's very exciting. So as you've all seen tonight, and you've gotten your lovely bags and some goodies, our tagline and logo is "Live Outside the Lines." And one of the fun things about that, the brand that we created, is you can interchange that first word. So it could be work outside the lines, it could be learn outside the lines, create outside the lines, and so forth. Explore outside the lines. So it's very interchangeable, which makes it great because each different organization that's involved in it can identify and adopt a brand, a version of that logo. So what does it mean? The great thing about this is it can mean to anybody what you want it to mean. Obviously, I would think one of the basic ones is that obviously we are outside the perimeter, so we are living outside the lines. If you go a little deeper and get kind of in the feelings on it, it could mean the spirit of the county as a place for trailblazers and change agents, or it could just be the spirit of people who want to slow down and enjoy that small town atmosphere. So take with it what you interpret it as, and just help share that information. It also serves as a call to action to businesses to kind of break free from congested metropolitan area and just experience the small town atmosphere that we have here in Douglas County. So that was a big part of my pillar for the last year. And then this tonight is actually one of the other parts, and that is sharing it with the community. So thank you all for being here tonight. I'm really excited to see everyone here. And we'll be out in the community kind of sharing the brand with those who couldn't be here with us this evening. We're looking at being in September Saturdays, and then continuing the implementation going forward in partnering with the city, the county, the school system, and learning and figuring out how they can implement this brand into their own organization. So I want everybody to take out their phones for a second, please. Go on, I'll give you a second. Because I need your help. We all need your help. You've all obviously got here some way, shape, or form, and I want to give a quick shout out and thank you to everyone that shared the event on Facebook, that found the information on our website, sent it through their HOAs. That's why everyone's here tonight. So we already have established brand ambassadors, but we need more. So I want everyone to go in your phone, open your text, and text Douglas Unite, all one word, and the number you text it to is 22828. Douglas Unite, and then the number you send it to is 22828. It is on the bottom of every piece of paper you will get in here tonight. It is up all around the room. That'll allow you to get some more information and hear updates about all of the information that we're doing tonight, because we really do need your help. It's one thing to share the story with you tonight. It's another for you to share it with your neighbor, and it's an even bigger thing and for us to share it with outside the community. So, yes, it's Douglas Unite, and the number is 22828. So look forward to seeing more Outside the Lines logos out in the community. We've got tons of goodies here tonight, so please take those, share them with your friends, neighbors. If you see it up, just continue to kind of share that message. And thank you guys. I hope to see you back at my pillar after we're finished. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. I feel like that was a test for the pillar leaders to see if we had our phones, because she runs a tight ship and didn't want us to have our phones. So some of us passed, some of us failed on the end, no shade. So up next, we'll hear from Gil Sherrouse, Executive Director of the Douglas County Water and Sewer Authority. Mr. Sherrouse leads the Invest with Intention pillar.
Thank you, Anna. So as you already heard from Amy tonight, one of the pillars of the strategic plan is to invest with intention. And the goal of this pillar is to make purposeful investments that align with the community's visions, values, and targets. In order to do that, two strategies were put forth from the strategic plan. Those are to first intentionally plan and invest in infrastructure that supports target cluster needs. And as you look at the strategic plan, you will see those target needs further identified. And then secondly, to dedicate resources to quality of life amenities that align with the community's vision and values. This plan also elaborates 18 action items in the Invest with Intention pillar. I will not elaborate on any of those tonight other than the three you see up here, but do come see us in the back or contact me or some of the folks that have been involved in this. And we've seen significant progress in many of these 18 action items already in the last year or two through working with numerous stakeholders like the City of Douglasville, Douglas County Development Authority, some of the local developers, most of whom are in the room, business owners, and many more. I'm just going to share three of these tonight, but realize there are many more that we would love to share with you, and some in which you can be involved as well. So the first one I want to share briefly about tonight is a very exciting collaborative program that's underway right now between the City of Douglasville and Douglas County. They are required on some frequency to update their comprehensive land use plans, and for the first time they have done that jointly. So while there will still be two plans, they will each adopt a separate plan next month or early October. They have done that process together. So we're seeing great collaboration and togetherness in their planning efforts. And just like you've seen a unified vision, we're seeing that through those local governments in their planning efforts. That has included numerous stakeholder meetings, public meetings. Many of you have been involved. I've seen you at some of these meetings, and we're very excited to see that those two plans be adopted later this year, probably in October. Secondly, part of the strategic plan includes much work in the downtown Douglasville area as a hub to growth and excitement and energy and culture in our community. The downtown area is just such a huge amenity to us. So the City of Douglasville recently completed their downtown master plan. Again, many of you were involved in that public stakeholder input. They adopted that plan in December of this year. It's an exciting plan. If you've not seen it, it's on the city's website. We have some snapshots of it back there and some folks that would love to talk more about that. The city has also started to take action on implementing that downtown master plan. Many of you have already heard they recently secured the old jail site by purchasing that from the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. That is an integral piece to the downtown master plan. That will be a hub and an anchor for the downtown with many amenities at that location and will spur development throughout downtown. Another plan that's being worked on with the City of Douglasville right now is the North Side redevelopment plan. So as Highway 92 is relocated through that area, a lot of opportunity for redevelopment. So the City of Douglasville has a plan underway right now for that. Part of these plans is a funding mechanism to help fund the initiatives that need to be driven by the local governments through tax increment financing. That's also known as a tax allocation district or a TAD. The city's gone through the legislative process to get that approved, and that's on the ballot for City Douglasville residents this November. So if you're in the city limits, please educate yourself appropriately on that referendum. And then finally, so somebody back there said vote yes. Public Arts Initiative is the last one I'll share with you. There's been many strides in public art over the last few months, and you'll be seeing more and more come from that in the coming months, mainly driven through the Cultural Arts Council. Very excited about some of the sculptures and murals and things going on at both public facilities and private facilities, including school systems and maybe right here in O'Neill Plaza, just right across the street. They're also working on a map to kind of connect these areas with wayfinding signs and whatnot. So we're real excited about the initiatives, not just in public art, but in all the ways that we've seen in the strategic plan initiatives already, but also in what's to come. So I welcome you to come back to the back and see more about Invest with Intention. And thank you very much for being here tonight.
Gil, you're such a slacker. He's the worst pillar leader ever. All right, thank you, Gil. I would now like to introduce Superintendent Trent North, who leads the Cultivate Talent pillar, and good luck to you after him.
Thank you, Gil. Thank you, Anna. We have been very busy working with the Cultivating Talent pillar. When industries is trying to decide where to relocate or to start up a new company, the first thing that comes to mind is what type of skill work resides in that county. And so we recognize that while Gil may have done an awesome presentation, the work we do is vital to the life of Douglas County. I just want to share with you a couple of things that's been occurring over the past year with the pillar work. In education, a lot of time we have teachers who are excellent with what they do in the classroom. But if you were to survey them and you were to ask how many actually worked in the private sector, the numbers are pretty small. And so in our profession, whether you are a public school or a private school or a charter school, we specialize in the education of students, not necessarily preparing them for the workforce. Through this work, there's been this awesome partnership with the school system, whether you're public or private, with the Chamber of Commerce, with the business community, and the Development Authority. In 2017, we provided a career fair where close to 1,200 students had an opportunity, grades 6th, 7th, and 8th, not just for the city school system, but Brighton as well, had an opportunity to learn the different job opportunities that are available. And the question is, do you have that conversation in elementary school? Do you have it in middle school? Or do you have it in high school? And the reality is, you have to have it in all three. And while we recognize that, we decided to make sure that in grades 6th, 7th, and 8th, that there was a focus. And so that came out of this work. What also came out of the work was, once we began to have the rich conversation with our students, we recognized that not every child was going to go to the military, or that not every child was going to go to college. And we developed, let me get my notes right, a training. We took 120 students, 120 seniors. We knew they were not going to college. We knew that they were also not going to the military. They wanted to go directly to work. And we heard from the workforce, meaning our business community, that sometimes the students aren't showing up ready for work. And so the Douglas County School System partnered with West Georgia Technical College and partnered with the Chamber of Commerce and partnered with the Development Authority. And we took those 120 students and took them on what we called a manufacturing tour, so that they could understand what the new manufacturers look like today, because it is distinctly different today than it was in the past. And we didn't just stop there. Those who wanted to continue to go, we took 25 of them and we partnered once again with West Georgia Technical College and trained them on soft skills. How do you prepare a resume? How do you interview? Once you get the job, what is necessary to be successful? And we're glad to share with you that out of 25, to date, 19 of them have since received employment. And so we're excited about that. And looking forward to expanding that next year. And then the last thing, which will be new to Douglas County, is called the Douglas County Education Collaborative. Carrollton City Schools in Carroll County in the community, they started what was called a Carroll County Education Collaborative. The Education Collaborative is a focus on not just what occurs K-12, but what happens prior to entering pre-K, and what happens after school. And a lot of rich conversation occurred through that process. Private schools are at the table, the business community is at the table, and anything that has a negative impact on a child's ability to be successful, the community comes together to try to eliminate any impediment. Well, that model is being expanded. Coweta County is replicating that model. Troup County is replicating that model. And Douglas County is replicating that model as well. So we're excited that we're going to be bringing the Douglas County Educational Collaborative to Carroll County as well. And we're partnering with our university, our business community, as well as the school system. So there's a lot of work that's occurring in the cultivating talent. There are about 18 individuals within the community that meet once a month for the sole purpose of trying to make sure that the workforce in Douglas County that is needed is present here to make sure that we're successful. So thank you.
All right, so thank you guys for hanging in there. We only have one more pillar. A lot of work being done there too, and I'm not going to start any more trouble on that end. Finally, we'll hear from Douglas County Economic Development Authority Executive Director, Chris Pumphrey, who leads the Build Business Success Pillar.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? Good, good, good. Thank you all for being here this evening, and also a tremendous thanks to all of our elected officials that are here as well, from the city, from the county, school board, any state representatives or senators that are here as well. Thank you so much for your leadership. This effort where we are today has been years in the making, and it's really exciting for us to be here today. As Anna mentioned, I have the pillar Build Business Success, and so it's a great honor to be able to take the lead on that. But you know, none of these other ones really matter. It's really all about what we do. But as Amy mentioned earlier, you know, everything that we do is intertwined. Without us, you know, being able to tell our story about who we are, without investing appropriately to accommodate growth, without building a talent pipeline, we won't have any business success here in Douglas County. And so everything we do really, truly is intertwined. So in this pillar, we've really focused in three main areas. It's business recruitment, business retention and expansion, that's supporting our existing businesses, and then entrepreneurial and small business efforts. And so we do have a table in the back, and I'll give you just a few highlights of what we're focused on. In the business recruitment space, where we have identified three main target areas. These are industries that we're going to continue to recruit here in our community. And based off the educational attainment that Amy alluded to earlier, our ability to attract these companies is based in our data. Our data shows that we can be successful in recruiting these sectors to our community. So the first one is advanced manufacturing, and we're looking at 4 subsets of advanced manufacturing, looking at aerospace-related companies, automotive-related companies. Now, mind you, I'm not saying we're going to be building airplanes here or building automobiles here, but the support systems within that space, food processing, and finally metal fabrication. The third sector is professional services and technology. And that includes things like our data centers. So we know we have the big data centers in Google, the recently announced data center from Switch and T5 and CyrusOne. Financial services sectors here in the community, and back office operations. Those tend to be your more consolidated efforts where you've got one headquarters that has consolidated all their human resources from around the country, all of their controllers from around the country and what have you, and those types of operations. And then the third sector is the media and entertainment. And this really speaks a lot to a lot of the feedback that we got from the surveys that Amy referenced as well. This area is going to focus on the growth of digital media, advertising, and public relations, the growth of film and television production, and the growth of retail, diverse retail options, higher-end retail options, and entertainment options, giving us as a community more things to do here locally. And so at our booth in the back, you have Andy Camp with NextSite. NextSite is a firm that we hired to help us in our retail recruitment efforts. So feel free to hound Andy with all the questions you have. And we already told him people are going to ask him about Krispy Kreme, so feel free to hit him up. And then outdoor recreation. I don't know how many of you know, but we have the state's second largest state park and the most visited state park right here in our community. And I don't think we leverage that as much as we can. So we're really looking at how do we amplify our existing assets like Sweetwater Creek and with complementary destinations that could benefit from assets like that. And the next area is the business retention and expansion, where it's a lot of combination of efforts. So you'll see the two tables are next to one another, the cultivating talent and the build business success. That's mainly because Breezy is split between both. She's got two minds there where she's supporting our existing businesses and what are the things that they need to continue to be successful and stay here and grow here. So we're doing a lot going on there. We're also putting on a regional industry summit this upcoming fall. So we're partnering with Cobb County and Fulton County and Douglas County and putting on a major event to support all of the industries that are there kind of on the east side of the county. And then lastly, which is something I'm really excited about, through our data and research, we discovered that we saw a huge decline in small businesses and entrepreneurship and patent development here in our community. And we couldn't just say it was because of the recession. Everybody always pins everything on the recession. Well, the data showed that other counties in the metro were showing an uptick in small business startups, an uptick in growth in those areas, while we were seeing a decline. And so why is that? And so we really are honing in on putting in the infrastructure in an ecosystem that supports entrepreneurs and small business. We're really excited about an effort that we are launching this fall with Mercer University. Mercer is going to be leading us through a program called Co-Starters. That'll be a 9-week cohort where entrepreneurs will be able to come together and learn in a university environment and really give them the tools to be successful as a business. And we'll be doing that every fall. We'll be continuing this to develop this ecosystem of entrepreneurial activity here in Douglas County. And then also, as I mentioned earlier, Switch, who announced their big data center, which is under construction right now, we'll be working with them in the coming years in developing an innovation center to be located here in our community as well. So a lot of great things that are happening today. Thank you all for taking the time out to be here. And I don't want to steal any of your thunder going forward, but thank you.
Well, thank you, Chris, and all of the pillar leaders for leading the charge where it comes to implementing this strategy. Thank you all for joining us this evening and sitting through all these presentations. I know it's a lot of information, but hopefully it's a good bit of information that you captured just maybe a few nuggets and can take forward to those who perhaps weren't able to join us this evening. Please visit the pillar stations in the back of the room for more information on each of these areas of the strategy. There are items featuring our new community brand, this logo, at each station that we hope you enjoy and will use to help spread the awareness of our brand. Please make sure and complete a comment card. So each of the pillar stations and the station outside has comment cards available to you so that we can field any questions you might have about the presentation or to get involved in these initiatives that we have going on. We would love to have your involvement. It takes a village, right? Return your card to the information table for a chance to win one of many prizes, including a 2-night stay at Fox Hall's Elegant Villas on property. In addition to these items distributed at each pillar station, we do have outside the line t-shirts, these t-shirts, available for sale at the information table at the front of the conference center for $10. Thank you again for attending, and we'll have our next presentation at 6:30 p.m. So come on back if you didn't get it the first time.